Hey! So welcome back guys. We are now on our fourth video. And on our previous video, we have discussed what's going on in our code. So in this video, we are going to talk about this and this. So these are called arguments. We're going to talk about how we can use them, utilize them to make our code more dynamic. Okay, so I want to show you first how to run your Java programs from the command prompt or from the terminal. There's a shortcut way in our IDE. You just right click here and then show in local terminal and then terminal. So this is like your command prompt. So everything here is the same. So if you're going to go to your workspace, you'll have here the folder. We have created Java first, so there's it. And then you can see here that there's an SRC and a bin folder. On your IDE, what's shown is only the SRC, the source folder. But on your workspace folder, you can see a bin folder in there. When you open that one, that's your main class, that class. So remember on our first video, we have talked about that Java and that class, right? If you're writing your source code, so your source code is called main class.java. But once you compiled it, it will be main class.class. So your main class, your compiled program is here on your bin. This is just a bunch of Linux commands. If you want to go back one folder, just say cd ... And then to go to your bin folder, remember you have Java first and then bin. So to go to your bin folder, just say cd bin. cd is just change directory. It will change directory to the bin folder. And then press enter. Okay. And then to run our code from our terminal, we just say Java. And then the name of our main class, that class. So Java main class. You don't need to put the .class in there. It will just run. Enter. Then it will say, hello, my Lavinia. So to pass in some arguments to our program, we just write something like Java main class and then say gorgeous. When you click enter, it will not show anything. Why? Because on your program, it's not doing anything to that argument that you have passed on. So we need to do something on our code here so that when we pass in an argument, it will also affect our output. Okay, so if we want our terminal to accept arguments, we just need to change something here on our code. Say let's put plus args. This means arguments of args of 0. If I enter here Java main class gorgeous and enter, it will say hello my Lavinia art gorgeous. So it's now accepting our arguments. So it's pretty easy, right? We just basically created our very first dynamic Java program. So congratulations guys. But this is not the end of our tutorial. So let's go further. Oh, before we do that, please remember that this making your program dynamic is the main foundation of every program. You don't want your program to do the same thing on every same time, right? You don't want it to like count from 1, 2, 3 all the time. You want it to be responsive. You want it to be dynamic. So whenever you put changes on it, your code will adapt. And in this way, it can have more uses. Okay, since we put our args of 0 in here, how about we run our program without arguments? And then just like that, I'll enter. You'll see that there will be an error. So it says Java lang re-index out of bounds exception. So it's trying to look for an argument, but it didn't find anything. So guys, this is an example of a runtime error. So runtime errors happen when you run a program. That's why it's called runtime. Once the program has been run, that's the only time it will show the error. So in short, you can run your program, but it eventually crashes on some statements. So as you can see, this is quite dangerous because you have run your program and you have deployed it on your production server or something, and then eventually it crashes. So you'll be debugging on the production server. Say for example, I'm going to delete the void one and then run our program. Proceed. So it will say main method not found in the main class. This is an example of a compilation error. So these are the two types of errors you encounter in Java programming. You have runtime error and compilation error. Compilation error are good because you can fix them before your program will run. But the runtime errors lets your programs crash, just like that. Okay, so let's go back. Let's just fix this one. Okay, so let's go back to our terminal. Once you say Java main class, what you're telling your program here, once you enter this one, is say main class, I want to run your main method. So that's what you're telling your main class, that class. Okay, so it will go to your main method, and then it will do the statements inside those main methods. It will say, okay, let's print out this one. And our main method is expecting string arguments. So now, once we see a plus string arguments of 1 or 0 in there, or any number, so it will try to find strings corresponding to those arguments. That's why when you say Java main class, so it will run the main. When it comes to this statement, it will try to print this string plus another argument that you need to input. That's why you need to input something like gorgeous, right? Let's put another heart in there. Okay, so let's go back to our console now. Once we run this one, what's it saying? Out of bounds, because we're not putting any argument in here since we are on the console. So the console can only display right now because we are not having some inputs with it. For this video, I just want you to understand what an argument is. Arguments are being used throughout your coding career. So most of the time, remember that when you call out a method, it will try to ask for some arguments from you. And as you can see, in this example, we have our print line method and we are passing this argument. Actually, this is an argument expression because you can see that we have our string in here plus another argument, so we call it an expression. So basically guys, arguments are what you pass in to a method. So you can see that when I run this program, it gave me an error here because you are not passing an inline argument. If you want to use our console for us to input the arguments that we want to input, first let's delete this one in here. In Java, we have what we call scanners. So basically, what the Java scanner is going to do is it will take an input from us and then it will store it on something that's called a parameter. So first, let's just do some comments here. So say arguments. This is what you pass into a method. Okay, so this is a method and then you are passing an argument to it. And then if you want to use your scanner from Java, so if you want to take an input from your console, you need to store it on a parameter. So what is a parameter? Parameters are variables to store your arguments. So this is part of the definition. So let's try to run this first again, just to make sure it's all good. So it's all good now. So for this print line method, aside from putting this argument, we can put other arguments as well. Like for example, system.out, then the print line. So you can see here that there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of argument types that you can use. You can use boolean, char, double, float. There's a lot of argument types that you can use. So in our first statement, what it's using is this one. Since this series of string is just a type of stream, so it's going to print this whole string as is. So in our next video, we are going to talk about the different argument types that we have in Java. If you want to read whatever a method is doing, you can just go on and type it and then you can read it here. So this prints a boolean, this prints a character, right? This prints a float. So you can read everything in here. But that's all you need to know about arguments and parameters right now. So I advise you to practice using our terminal here. I'll just show it to you again just in case. Right click on main class Java, local terminal, and then your terminal here. So just a quick recap. for you to go to your main class, because this is the one that you're going to run from your terminal, go to your bin folder. So cd ... to go back one folder, and then cd bin. Okay, and then you just go on, type java main class and enter. So that's it. I want you to practice putting some arguments. In this example, you are just going to put some string arguments here. So java main class hello again. So enter. So it will say hello my Lavinia, hello. Right? Actually, you can put a bunch of arguments here. So we are always starting from 0 since this is a machine language, right? Once you've added an argument in here, you can also add some arguments here. Like for example, hello 1, hello 2. So it will just get all of your arguments, but there is no space. So you can just play with it first and try it yourselves. I'll see you on the next video where we are going to talk about all of these argument types that we have in Java.